Good morning, world. This is Ivan Amir again. I just recently uploaded my last video. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I thought it'd be cool to do a 2 video marathon. Um, so I have some other stuff in my mind I want to talk about. So I'll be nice and I'll do another. This is the time. Most of the other days I'll do 1 video a day, but today I decided to do 2 videos. So my wife Vijay will be excited to watch this next video when it gets uploaded a couple hours from now. I'll do a nice 1 hour to an hour and a half video. There's more things in my mind I want to talk about in regards to my SkySource company, my Last of Us project, and all that stuff. So you guys better enjoy, even though you don't see my face, even though my listening series is entertaining and you're enjoying the show, you guys better fucking enjoy this show, obviously. Because once I find out how wicked you were and I cry my eyes out, I'm never making any videos for you ever again, man. I'm living my life with my wife forever in this world, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have a crazy time together, you know what I'm saying? And what? We're going to be movie stars. We're going to own that $150 million rooftop condo. Same time, it's quiet right now. There's no one upstairs. And you won't hear any noise, obviously. You know what I'm saying? After I finish this video, I'm going to go to the store, get a pack of smokes, come back and continue to enjoy the show, obviously. As I know you guys are obviously, even though we don't see Ivan, his listening series is interesting. Yeah, you guys better enjoy this listening series while you still can. As I'm pretty sure Peter Jackson will Gibson love my listening series. Obviously. As I'll be hiring one of those guys to what? To what? To direct my movie. Most likely, something tells me Peter Jackson will end up being the guy, man. Now that I think about it, because I'm hiring Lord of the Rings crewman, and Peter Jackson knows all those guys, and Lord of the Rings is the best movie George ever made. You see what I'm saying here? But something also tells me I might choose Mel Gibson, man. You never know, man. So I'm leaning towards Mel Gibson, but at the same time, I'm also leaning towards Peter Jackson. It's a hard choice. Hence why those two directors are gonna have to fight for that job, man. They're going to have to really, really fight for that job. For directing my Last of Us movie project. Right? But going back to CEOs, I'm going to have this talk. I'm going to have this talk. Remember in my video when I talked about the CEOs I wanted to hire CEOs for my company? I'm going to have this talk with Vijay. Hey, Vijay. Okay, hey Vijay, do you want to hire a CEO to handle all the business, handle everything for me and Vijay, handle everything, and me and you can just focus on writing the scripts, doing the concerts, and practicing lines, or do you want to do the sign, or do you want to sign a contract yourselves? Obviously, there's a high chance me and Vijay will expand our company. We will expand our company, obviously. If I were to expand my SkySource company, the only thing I would do is like magazines and games. That's okay, Vijay. Hey, Vijay, do you want to expand our company and have games and like have our own magazine line? We can do that. We'll make way more money, obviously. I don't want my business to be crazy, but if me and Vijay would expand our SkySource company, I would make games. I would make a Zanus game, and I would probably have my own magazine line. I'll have this talk with Vijay. Hey, Vijay, when we start SkySource, do you want to have your own magazine line so the actors and directors get featured on our we have photographers take pictures. We hire writers. And the actors get featured on some SkySource magazine for all my movie projects. Pay the actors a nice $250,000 royalty check for being featured on the magazines. You can do something like that. Most likely not, but I'm gonna have this talk with Vijay. Hey Vijay, do you want to make? I can put me and you can put a good $300 million and make an amazing Zanus game. We can have the Zanus game released on PS5, and we can have our amazing Zanus game on PS5. Be released on PS5 and Xbox and the Xbox X series if you want. We can also sign that though and release sell on Amazon too if you want to. We'll make more money. I'll have a talk with you. Hey VJ, do you want to expand? Do you want to have a Zanus game that way we make more money, or do you want to have a magazine line? I'll have this talk with VJ. And do you personally want to sign a contract yourselves, or handle all that, or do you want me and you to hire a CEO? I'm gonna have this talk with VJ. Most likely not, as me and VJ will be the CEOs of our company, obviously. Me and Vijay will be the CEOs of our company, obviously. I'll tell Vijay, hey Vijay, if we expand our company with a magazine and have our own games for all my movies, for Zanus, the Great Escape movie, They're Unique, the Hit Art movie, the Western Gangster, all those movies can easily be made into games. Obviously, me and Vijay can put a couple $100 million into it, and we can make our own games. But I told you, the moment you have a bunch of business, it becomes crazy, obviously. But I'll tell you, look, man, I'm not interested in restaurants. I'm not interested in parks. That stuff is crazy. I'm only interested in art. So if me and VJ would expand our Skysource company, I would do games and like magazines, and that's it. I'm not going to go any higher, any more than that. Otherwise, it becomes really, really crazy. I'm going to have this talk with VJ. Who knows? Because I'm kind of thinking of having a Zanus game. A Zanus game, obviously. Me and VJ would make our billions off the games too. We'd make more money, obviously. And all those actors chosen for Zanus, I would have them do voice acting for the games. Pay them pay them like, I don't know, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million to voice act for your game if you want to. Have all the actors for Zanus do the voice acting for all the characters in the Zanus game. Pay them a couple $1 million for that. But for the games, me and VJ would have to hire our own what? We would have to hire our own. We can easily have the people who do the games, the special effects people who do the games, work in our other building too. But for the games, you have the special effects people. I would have to pay them like $60,000. Obviously, I can't afford to pay them all for the games. Because it's smaller, only at 300 million. Me and VJ will only be able to afford to pay them like 50 million, $50,000 around it, which is, they'll still work hard for me and VJ, obviously. High chance it's a no. The high chance I'm just gonna stick to Skysource and that's it. I am not gonna be investing my money in games and magazines. As the ad shoots and posters is more than enough for my company, obviously. But I'm gonna have this real talk with you, VJ. If you want to have your own game division, your own Skysource game division, we can easily make our own games, our own Skysource game, and our own Skysource magazine line if we want to. But it'll just cost us more money. We'll make our billions, obviously, but it'll just cost more money. And we can sell it on Amazon, too. For the games and the magazines, obviously. Amazon will make more money, and Skysource will make more money, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? But if we do that, me and VJ would have to hire a CEO. Because the moment me and VJ invest some money in games and magazines, it now becomes crazy, and you're going to have to hire a CEO to take care of all that for you. Obviously. I told you, there's a high chance me and VJ will not have our own game division and we will not start on magazine. I'm just throwing it out there. High chance me and VJ are just going to stick to Skysource, that's enough. As we're going to make enough money off of movie and posters, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? And hiring a CEO would just cost me and VJ more money. I'm gonna have this talk with you. Hey VJ, if you want us to have our own game division magazine, we can do that. But if we do that, we're gonna have to hire a CEO to handle all that, handle the game division, the magazines, all that stuff. It becomes me and you can just hire a CEO if we want to take care of all that stuff for us. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. For Last of Us age, Peter Jackson works in it, and me and you just focus on the creative, like the script, the concept art, and writing lines, and you can have the CEO handle all the business, signing all the contracts, if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But I told you, to do that will cost me and VJ more money, man. It'll cost us we'll end up putting like 1.2 million. Well, the salary for Peter Jackson doesn't really count towards the budget. But I told you, me and VJ, even if we pay a CEO a lot of money, me and VJ will easily make our money back. But you're looking at a lot of costs, man, like 1.2 billion or something like that. But me and VJ will make our money back. If I do that, I'll end up pricing my Lord of the Rings, my Xan series for more money, like $200. That way I make a nice profit for myself, a nice 3.8 billion for myself, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? I'm just throwing ideas out here, and I'm saying me and VJ don't need a CEO, man. We're just wasting money. Again, I already made a video. All you guys who remember my CEO video, you remember that video? I talk about my candidates. I have 3 candidates I'm thinking of right now. So look, VJ, if you want our company to be huge, and we have our own game division and our own magazine line, we're gonna have to hire a CEO to handle all that for us. You can pay them a lot of money. Obviously. Pay them an unheard amount of money. Obviously, again, if me and VJ end up hiring a CEO, my top 3 candidates are Kevin Feige, obviously the guy who's Marvel, obviously, and what's his name, Walter Hamada. He's DC president, and Ann Sarnoff, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? Someone like Bob Iger is good, but Bob Iger is too old, man. He's too fucking old. He's like 7 years old. He's too fucking old. But if look, man, I've told VJ, if we want our company to be huge, we're gonna have to hire a CEO and handle all that, man. It'll be too stressing for me and VJ. And me and you can just focus on like the script, the console arts, and what, and you can even have a CEO sign on the contracts if you want to. Obviously, if you want to, if you want to take that stress off us, we can hire a CEO to sign our contracts, handle all the business for the magazines and the games, the game division, all that stuff. If you want, I'll have this talk with VJ. All right, but it will just cost me and VJ more money, as me and VJ can easily sign the contracts ourselves and handle all the business. Obviously, you see what I'm saying? That's my point. Right? Yeah, my top 3 candidates are those 3 people I just mentioned, obviously. Kevin Feige, if he were my CEO, I'd pay him, I don't know, I'd pay him you have to pay him an unheard amount of money, man. Because you're looking at a lot of work you have to handle, obviously. If you to run the game division and the what, and the magazine line and all that stuff, and Sonic Conscious, all dealing with Amazon, all that stuff, you have to pay him an unheard amount of money. I told you guys already know how much I want to pay. I'm willing to pay Kevin Feige a nice, I don't know. If me and VJ end up hiring a CEO, which I highly doubt it, as me and VJ can easily just do, I'd rather just stick with Sky. High 90% chance me and VJ are just gonna stick with Sky Source. There's like a 10% chance you might expand our company with a game division and like magazine. Like if we do that, we're gonna have to hire a CEO for that to handle all that for me and VJ. Because it's a lot of work, man. Obviously. Yeah. It looks something crazy, obviously. But chances are me and VJ will not be hiring a CEO. We don't need one. But I'm just throwing names out there. If me and VJ, if we choose to expand our business, when I start Skyscraper with VJ wants to have, if we want to have our own game division and our own magazine line, we're gonna have to hire someone to run all that for us. It's a lot of work, obviously. Kevin Feige, I don't know if Kevin, I'm throwing names out. If Kevin Feige, I'd be willing to pay him. I don't know, for the 4 years you pay him, I don't know, 100. I don't know. Before I said 200 million, that's crazy for a CEO. That's fucking crazy. I don't know. You can pay him like. Before I said $50 million, that's crazy. $40 million a year or something like that for the 4 years. The first 2 years. Pay him like 100, I don't know, 20 million or something like that for the 4 years or something like that. Before I said 200 million, that's crazy. No, $120 million for 4 years. But no, forget what I said though. Me and VJ are not going to be hiring a CEO, man. You're just wasting money. I'm not going to expand my company with games. I'm not going to expand my company with you're just wasting my. I prefer to just disguise that's more than enough. You don't need to hire a CEO for all that, obviously. But if I were to hire Kevin Feige or like Walter Hamada, I'd pay those guys a lot of money to run my company, obviously. I'd pay them like, I don't know. Kevin Feige, I'd be willing to pay him like a fat contract. Like what? Like, I don't know, $180 million contract or something like that. Guy willing to pay. Because Kevin Feige's so big, and he built like the biggest movie franchise ever, Marvel. You can pay him like $180 million for the 4 years of saying this. 4 years of all your movies. Pay him a fat job right there. Walter Hamada, you can pay him like $100 million or something like that. $80 million for the 4 years. And so on, you can pay like $100 million or something like that. If we choose to hire a CEO for our company. Pay him a nice contract like that, which is nice, obviously. If I were to hire a CEO, chances are I would hire someone like Kevin Feige. But I told you, for someone like Kevin Feige to leave Marvel, he would demand a lot of money, man. He would demand like $100+ million. Media Views can easily afford. If Kevin Feige were my CEO for my company, I'd pay him like $180 million for all my movies. Something crazy. That way, because he's going to be hard at work signing all those contracts, signing the contract with Amazon, you know what I'm saying, the magazine lines and games. It's a lot of work. To run all that's a lot of work. Hence why you got to pay him an unheard amount of money, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? Walter Hamada, I'd pay him like $80 million for all my movies. And Sarnoff, I'd pay like $120 million for my movies. Somewhere around the range I mentioned in my past videos, obviously. That's if look, man, I'm telling VJ, if you want to expand our company with games, toys, you know what I'm saying? Hey, VJ, if you want us to have our own toy line, our own games division, our own magazine line, then we're going to have to hire a CEO. And if I do, I'd be willing to pay someone like Kevin Feige like $180 million for all my movie projects. He doesn't get a raise. He gets his flat $180 million for all my movies. Kevin Feige, you can do a deal like that for him, but he doesn't get a piece of me and VJ's royalties, as he's not worth it, obviously. But Ivan, that's a lot of cost. Yeah, it's a lot of cost, but I told you, because me and VJ have the keys, we're gonna make billions of dollars off our what? If we were to expand our company, me and VJ would be making billions with the toy line, the games, and magazine line. We and VJ will be making billions, man. We're making a lot of money. But I told you, 10% chance of that happening. As I'm gonna tell you, look, man, I prefer to just stick to SkySource and that's it. Make movies, sell the posters and mugs, that's enough. We don't need toys, we don't need a game division, and we don't need magazines. But if we do end up expanding our business, me and VJ would have to hire a CEO to handle that for us. Sign all those contracts for the toy line deals, all that stuff. It's a lot of work, hence why you hire a CEO to take care of all that for you. And those three are my top candidates. So Ann Sarnoff, the CEO of Warner Bros., pay her like $120 million for all your movies, which is a nice deal. Walter Hamada, you can pay him like $80 million for all your movies, so it's for the deal. And Kevin Feige, you can pay him a nice like $180 million for all your movies. It cost me and VJ a lot of money, but I told you, me and VJ are gonna make billions. If we had a game division and toy line and magazines, me and VJ would make like, I don't know, $6+ billion off the movies, as well as those other divisions. We make so much money, hence we make our money back obviously easily. You see what I'm saying here? There's a 10% chance I'm going to do that. High chance I'm just going to stick to SkySource and stick to SkySource and just make movies and sell my posters and mugs. That's enough. There's a 10% chance we're going to do that. I'm not interested in that crazy. Yeah, I'm not interested in that crazy stuff. But if we want to expand our company, I would consider hiring a CEO to handle all that for me and VJ, obviously. And pay those CEOs an unheard of amount of money, considering they're going to be hard at work handling all that for you and your wife, man. You have to pay them a lot of money, and they will get their freedom too with me immediately. Whereas in Hollywood, they're dirty slaves, obviously, and they would get their perks, all that stuff. So if Kevin Feige were hired as my CEO, he would get all the perks like everyone else. Obviously, he would get spoiled. He would get his freedom too. And so when he signs that contract, he might even cry, because in Hollywood, you don't get your freedom. In Hollywood, you're a dirty slave, obviously. All the producers are dirty slaves too, as they all have bosses too. They're all dirty slaves, man. And whereas in Ivan's movie, you're free. You get your freedom, obviously, because that's the world we live in, man. There's a 10% chance of that happening, man. There's a high chance me and VJ are just gonna stick. I'm gonna tell you, look, man, I prefer to just stick to movies and sell posters and mugs. That's more than enough money for me and you. We don't need to. Well, I'm not interested in that crazy stuff where you have toys and all that stuff and game divisions. It becomes crazy. I know you guys would love to. You guys would love to see a Xanax game or toys and all stuff, or magazine. But it just becomes. Yeah, I mean, video will make more money, but it just becomes crazy. It just becomes crazy, man. And you're all stressed out. Hence why I'm not going to do that. Me and Reacher are not going to hire a CEO. It's not going to happen. 10% chance of that happening. I'm just throwing ideas out there. If I do hire a CEO, those are my three top candidates. Kevin Feige, Walter Hamada, he runs DC, right? And Ann Sarnoff. And I'm willing to pay those guys an unheard of amount of money to. They would gladly accept my deal, yeah, because they're making more money than what they even make in Hollywood. $180 million, you're walking away with $100 million in your bank. So if Kevin Feige would work for my company, after each movie project, he's walking away with $100 million in his bank, which is a lot of money, man. They're all walking with a fat paycheck. I told you, high chance I am not going to hire a CEO. As me and we don't need CEOs. We can sign a contract ourselves, and a 17 can easily handle all the business calls. But if you expand your company, you're going to need to hire a CEO, because your 17 can't handle all that. You're going to have to hire a CEO to run all that for you. But I told you, there's a 10% chance that's happening. That's going to happen, obviously. See what I'm saying here? Anyways, I just thought I should throw it out there. Okay? You guys better enjoy this listening series while you still can, man. Because once I find out how wicked you are, I'm going to cry my eyes and I'm peacing on for this. Right? Yeah. And if I do a Xanax game, the actors will be saved, obviously. I'll put a good $300 million towards the game, and I can have the actors do voice acting for the game, for the characters. Pay them like $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million to voice act. A nice salary for a voice actor, obviously. And so if I did do a game, the actors would be saved, obviously, and they would be a part of that amazing. You're looking at revolutionary technology for the games too, as no game was made for $300 million. The highest made game I think was like $200 million. And if I were to make a Xanax game, I put $300 million towards the game. It was something unheard of. But I told you, chances are that's not going to happen. As I'm just going to sell posters and mugs and movie. That's enough. I'm not into that crazy stuff, man. As 10% chance I will not be doing that. There's not. I'm just going to stick to Skysys and posters. That stuff. Right? So I thought, so go back to, let me go back to the movie Xanus. So the Xanus movie will happen, whereas the games and the toys and all stuff, chances are it's not going to happen. As I'm not into that crazy stuff. I'm a simple-minded guy. I am not into that crazy stuff, obviously. You see what I'm saying here? So sorry, CEOs and all. I know you guys love to work for my company. There's a high chance I will not be hiring a CEO, as I don't need one. I'm only going to stick to SkySource movies and posters and mugs, and that's enough. Obviously. So going back to the last of Zane's project. So Peter Jackson and Mel Gibson, they are the lucky chosen directors who are going to get the what? They're going to get to direct my Last Hope for Zane's movie. Obviously, whoever's chosen, they're the lucky chosen for you. I'm willing to pay Peter Jackson a rich $75 million to direct my movie, executive produce, and co-write. And I'm willing to pay Mel Gibson a fat $50 million. And so I'm paying these directors unheard amount of money, as no director in Hollywood makes this kind of money, man. Except for the really, really big ones. As I heard Peter Jackson got percentage of the profits. I heard Peter Jackson made like $180 million off Lord of the Rings. He got like his $10 million salary and he made like an extra like 100, I don't know, $40 million, $50 million off Lord of the Rings for the profits, obviously. But for my movie, he's not worth my profits. Because he's not the main, you're not the main show, obviously. You're not worth my royalties. As I guarantee you, Peter Jackson's agent is going to try and get a piece of me Media's royalties. He's going to try and get a piece of me Media's royalties, and if that doesn't work, she's going to try and borrow from money. Look, man, I'm not paying you $100 million. That's crazy. $75 million is good enough, and I'll give you $2 million for the re-release, which is good enough, obviously. You know, accept my deal. Yeah, I see your deal. Even though you agree, you're paying me unheard amount of money that no director in Hollywood. Yeah, I'm paying you unheard amount of money that no director in Hollywood will ever make. You see what I'm saying here? No director in Hollywood would ever make that. Yeah. And Mel Gibson, I'll pay him $50 million. $10 million sign bonus and $40 million rich salary. That's both those directors are going to work really, really hard for me. They're going to work hard. You're going to see Peter Jackson working harder for me than even did Lord of the Rings. Even though Lord of the Rings, he got like a lot of money, obviously, pieces of profits. He was a dirty slave, and they served him cheap food and all that stuff. They didn't spoil him like the way I'm spoiling him. And he'll work harder for me. Plus, the doc team's filming Peter Jackson every day. Almost every day. Like, indie stuff. I'm going to rent like $50,000 cameras. $50,000 independent, like, Red Epic cameras, man. Nice. Know the cameras used to film independent movies? I'm renting like 15 of those cameras to film my documentary. You also have special effects. Special effects of the documentary, yeah. It's a good chance I'm going to have like $3.5 million left over in my doc budget. I'm going to tell the doc, hey man, put money towards special effects for the city of Vancouver, the slow motion, all that stuff. You're looking at something unheard of. Yeah, I'm going to have drones too. High shot footages of Vancouver, Los Angeles, Peter Jackson's house in New Zealand, Mel Gibson's house in New Zealand. Looks something top notch. Yeah, man. You see what I'm saying here? Yeah. So let's talk about the Last Hope for Xanus concert arts. So when me, Peter Jackson, my wife, and the assistant director, there's a high chance Guillermo del Toro will be the hired assistant director. Something tells me that's the man Peter Jackson's going to choose because he worked on The Hobbit with Peter Jackson, and he's most likely the best assistant director to help him. I'll pay him a nice if he is hired. If Guillermo del Toro is my assistant director for Xanus, I'll pay him a nice like $800. You know what? Because the guy's big, because he's really really big, pay him a nice $1 million. That way he works hard for me. Guillermo del Toro, because he's really, really big, he's a pretty big director, I'll pay him like $1 million as an assistant director. Which is a nice paycheck for assistant director, obviously. Pay him $200K for pre-production, helping Peter Jackson. I can even have him help me write my scripts too. Help me write the scripts, the console arts. He gets $200,000 for that. and then he gets his nice $800,000 to the start of production, which is a nice deal for assistant director. And to work hard for me, obviously. Pay him a nice $1 million. If he is chosen, I'll pay him $1 million, which is a nice paycheck for assistant director. Whereas if it's another assistant director who's not as big, I'll pay him like $500,000 or something like that. Whereas Guillermo del Toro, I'll pay him like $1 million if he's chosen as my assistant director. And he'll get his perks, like Peter Jackson, buffet, all that stuff. He'll be helping Peter Jackson a lot with the with taking his directing notes on stuff. You can also have him consult with the 7 team too. He executive produced a few movies too. You can have him help out Peter Jackson and the 7 team. Hey, look, man, I don't pay you for nothing. Help Peter Jackson the script. You can also consult with the 7 team. That way you have more minds helping your 7 team. That way you get a good movie, obviously. So you have George Lucas, who will be consulting for the company, obviously. So George Lucas will be consulting for the company because he owns his own Lucasfilm company, independent from Hollywood. You have Peter Jackson, who's the boss of the movie. He's consulting with 7 team, help me video with the calls off for the main 7-8 things. And you can have Guillermo del Toro, if he's assistant director, you can have him what? You can have him help out Peter Jackson, consult with the 7 team as well as how you can even have him help you with the scripts too. I can have Guillermo del Toro help me like once a week with the scripts, with script writing too. Have him help like once a week. And you'll help me and Peter Jackson, my wife, with the concert arts and 2 script developers every afternoon. Pay him a nice $1 million, which is nice for an assistant director. Now, I'm not going hard enough for him. If he's greedy, I'm gonna look, man. You're an assistant director. You're not what? You're not my director. I'm not gonna pay you like $5-10 million. No, you're my assistant director. $1 million is a nice paycheck, and he'll agree to do. Yeah, Ivan, you're being generous. $1 million is a good paycheck. Yeah, $1 million is a good paycheck for an assistant director, man. It's a really good paycheck. And he'll be helping me and Peter Jackson with all the concert arts. And if I do, and me and VJ go on that world tour, when me and VJ go on that world tour with Peter Jackson, I'll bring him with me. It's cool to have, I'll bring the assistant director with me. So you have me, VJ, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, or J.J. Abrams, and Rian Johnson, right? You have the head of production, you have Peter Jackson, and you have what? And you have Peter Jackson, and you have what? Yeah, Peter Jackson, yeah, and the assistant director. That's 7 people on the jet, and the other 5 actors. My $7 million jet will fit a good like 14 people, 12 to 14 people. I have it seat 14 people max, and my other jet will seat like 8 people, as I can't bring everyone, obviously. I'm only gonna bring like 12 actors, and that's it. Obviously. 11, 12 actors I'll bring on my jet for the world tour. You see what I'm saying here? So when I do the concert arts, so every day when I co-write the script with Peter Jackson, obviously, when I co-write the script with Peter Jackson and all the what, and all the and the 2 script developers, obviously, every morning. Obviously, the 2 script developers will work on the script for me 2 days a week, and they have to do business calls and they look at the reels. When we go in that concert room, I'm going to talk about the changes. I'm going to make a few changes for my book to the film. The film, obviously. For example, in the book, if you read my Last of Zane's book, Aratat has a big axe. He fights with an axe, whereas in the movie, I'm going to have him fight with a sword. That way you get better coordination fighting with Takis and Aratat. As when you have axes and swords, you don't really have that great coordination when you're fighting. Hence why I'm going to have Aratat have a long sword in the movie, whereas in the book, he has a sword. Faful has a sword, has an axe in the book, whereas in the movie I'm going to have him have a long sword. Whereas the wolf army, I'll have them have swords, axes, and spikes. Obviously, have a mixture of weapons, obviously. But for Aratat, the Devil Wolf King, and Faful, the Prince of the South, I'll have them have a long sword, as well as Bo. I'll have Bo have a long sword in the movie. That way you get better coordination with your fight. Because Tacitonius fights Bo in the book. Cassius fights Morale. Morale, I'll have him have a sword too. Have those main wolf characters have swords. That way you have better coordination with your fighting. Cassius fights Morale in the book. Tacitonius fights Bo the Pit Watcher. Right? And Tacius takes on both Faful and Aratat. And you have them have swords. That way you get better coordination with your fighting, obviously. I'm going to tell Peter Jackson, look, man, that's why when me and VJ take that 1 year off, I want to study the Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, VJ, Let's study the Fellowship of the Ring script together. That way, I can even have VJ help me with the script a little bit if she wants to. There's a good chance she will. VJ can help me. Hey VJ, if you want to help me with the script, you can. You don't. She doesn't have to, because I have my other people help me. But I want VJ help me when I plan out the script during that 1 year vacation. Hey VJ, let's print out the Fellowship of the Ring script, study it, obviously. And then once we study the script, me and Viz begin planning out the story. Okay, this is what I want to happen in Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. I'll talk about some of the ideas I have for the screenplay, obviously. I want Aratat, Faful, Morale to have swords, and Bo to have swords, obviously. Right? Make a few changes, obviously. For example, in the book, Tacti's eyes go blue. I don't want to spoil the story for you. Yeah, his eyes go blue, right? Whereas in the movie, I won't have his eyes go blue as you're looking at it. It'll look really silly. I'll have Tacti's eyes change color. So instead of having his eyes go blue, you have his brown eyes change to like a blue color. Something cool like that. That way it translates well on screen. Aratat's eyes glow red. Faful's eyes glow red in the book. Whereas in the movie, I'll have their pupils change color. They have like black pupils, and their pupils change like a reddish color in the movie. That way it translates well. So yeah, you know what you're doing. Yeah, I know what I'm doing, man. Right? You see what I'm saying here? Yeah. For example, in the book, I don't really describe what the Blood Valley looks like, but the Blood Valley will not, even though the Blood Valley is the bridge of the north, the bridge between the north and the south, in the movie, I don't want the Blood Valley to be an actual bridge. Otherwise, you're looking at a flop. I'm thinking of like a huge valley, but it's like there's like a lot of dead things in the valley. You know what I'm saying? Remember the battle of Pelennor, the Pelennor battle in Return of the King? I'm thinking of something like that for the Blood Valley. The Blood Valley is huge. A huge Blood Valley, and a lot of dead. You see a lot of dead things on the ground, of orcs, men, corpses, all that stuff. Remember when Frodo and Sam went through the marshes, and Smeagol's like, don't follow the lights. Obviously, and Frodo falls in the marsh, wherever it is, and Gollum rushes him. You see all these dead bodies. Think of something like that for the Blood Valley, except it's a huge valley. I'm thinking of something like, remember the Pelennor field battle? Return of the King, something like that for the Blood Valley. A huge valley with grass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, oh my god, you're creative. Yeah, I'm very creative. I'm going to show my car over here.